All right, guys. I'm going to try and do my best to lay out. This is the base of our toolbox that we're going to lay out today. All right. I was thinking about it though, in terms of these dimensions that we see here. I want to cover really quick on how the graduations on a ruler go. The graduations are these little tick marks on your ruler, and what each of those little tick marks mean. So I'm going to use this guy. I'll do this upside down. So just pretend for a sec that this line represents 1 inch. All right. Um, and so if I wanted to do a 1/2 inch, that would be somewhere right in the middle, right? And that's going to be a big tick mark right there. And then if I wanted to do, so the way a ruler works, it's always half of that, half of a half, half of a quarter, half of an eighth. And that's what each of these tick marks mean. I've had some students feel in the past that like each tick mark is 1/10 of an inch, let's just say. And although there are rulers that work like that, machinist rulers and stuff, right now we're just using a traditional ruler that everyone should have at their house or that you've seen before. All right, similar to a tape measure in this case. All right, so if this represents 1/2 an inch, if I want half of that, I'm going to come in here and divide that in half. And so this would be 1/2. This would be 1/4, and this would be 3/4. All right. And then again, I want to go half of all of these dimensions. All right. So I would have another tick mark right there, another tick mark right there, another tick mark right there. All right. Again, so a half of a quarter is an eighth. So I would have 1/8. This would be 2/8 or 1/4. This would be 3/8. This would be 4/8 or 1/2. This would be 5/8. This would be 6/8 or 3/4. And this would be 7/8. All right. Let me flip that over for you guys to take a look at. All right. And again, most rulers, and you guys probably can't see this one too well, but here we go. You kind of see when I get the light on it. On the bottom section of the ruler, I have more graduations or more tick marks. All right. Than I have on the top section. So this is just more, there's just smaller dimensions on this side than there's on this side. Every tick mark on the top of this ruler that's spaced out a little bit, every tick mark is 1/8 of an inch, similar to what you see down here. On the bottom, there's twice as many of these little tick marks, all right, or graduations. And so every one on the bottom represents 1/16 of an inch, all right? So that would be, again, cut all these dimensions in half. And this would be 1/16. 2/16 is an eighth. 3/16. 4/16 is a quarter. 5/16. 6/16 is 3/8. 7/16. 8/16 is a half. 9/16. 10/16 is 5/8. 11/16. 12/16 is 3/4. Get that in the screen. It's 3/4. All right. So 13/16. 14/16 is equivalent to 7/8, and 15/16. All right. So that's the breakdown of the graduations on either a tape measure or a ruler. So we're going to use this information and we're going to lay out this thing right here on a full-size sheet of paper. All right. Now, if you look at this, get this into your screen a little bit. The outside dimensions are 11 inches by 8.5 inches. All right. A standard size sheet of paper is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. So I don't need to worry about my outside lines. I'm just going to draw in my hem lines. All right. My hem lines, my bend lines, and then these relief cuts right here. All right. And we talked about that on Tuesday. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is my first hem line. And the color is poor. I should have changed that, but we're going to go with it right now. The first hem line is 1/2 an inch down from this top edge. All right. So I'm going to get my ruler out and I'm going to set my ruler. I usually don't use the end of the ruler, so I put the 1 inch mark right there. And I'm going to go down 1/2 inch. Now on this ruler on this side, that's 4 of these tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to mark a line right there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Get that into your guys' view. And I'm going to mark right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect those dots with a line. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's my first hemline on this sheet of paper. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom because I have the exact same thing down here. All right, so I'm going to get my ruler out. Again, I got 1/8 of an inch tick mark, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/8 is 1/2. I'm going to go back over to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And I'm going to connect those dots as well. All right, I now have both of my hemlines drawn in, top and bottom. All right, going back to my print here, I have another line. All right, this bend line right here, let me see if I, is 2 inches from the top. All right, so I'm now going to go to the top, and I'm going to go down 2 inches, 1 inch, 2 inch. I'm going to put a tick mark right there. All right, let's see if I can get this adjusted for you guys a little better. All right, same thing from the bottom. 1 inch, 2 inch. I'll put a line right here, and I'm going to go to the other side and do this exact same thing. 1 inch, 2 inch. Put a mark. 1 inch, 2 inch. Put a mark. And I'm going to draw those lines in. All right. Continue to look at my drawing. I got to bend these on the side here. All right. And it says right here that from this edge, I'm going to go over 3/4 of an inch inwards on my piece of paper. All right. So 3/4 of an inch this way on my ruler right here is going to be 6 of these marks. All right, because every mark on this side of my ruler represents 1/8 of an inch. All right, so I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna put a mark there, come up to the top and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go over to this side. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And come back over here and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And you just got to determine whether your ruler, if it has a bunch of small little tick marks like this side does, I know you guys can't see that. That would be every tick mark is a 1/16 of an inch. And then on this side where there's not as many, every tick mark is 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just using the 1/8 of an inch scale on my ruler. All right. So now let's go there and there. Okay, so back to this. I now have all my bends and my hemlines laid out. All right, now I got to work on my relief cuts to make sure I get those laid out. Now, these are all 45-degree angles. A ruler doesn't measure angles, but one thing that we can use, the reason why we use a 45-degree angle, because these lines are all laid out the same. They are the same length, every single one of them. All right, so if I can just find the endpoints of these little triangles, I can then draw the angled line, and I know it's going to be 45 degrees. All right, so I'm going to come, let's see, I'll start with this point right here. This point right here is that point right there. They are the same point. All right, I know that I have a triangle that goes over this way 3/4 of an inch and up this way 3/4 of an inch. All right, so I can go ahead 3/4 of an inch. All right, that's going to be 6 of my graduations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and I'm going to come right up here and put another mark right there. Because I went this way 3/4 of an inch and I went up 3/4 of an inch, I know when I connect those two dots right there, that's going to be this hemline, or this relief cut. All right. I can simply just go down. As long as I go through this point right here, I'm going to take this all the way to the end. Just like that. Sorry, let me get this more on the screen. This is going to be cut away. This is going to be cut away. All right. Now, I also now have to come this way 3/4 of an inch and then go to my line right here. I'm going to put my ruler down. I'm going to count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go right to there. I'm going to come straight up. And I know that's my mark. And then I'm going to draw this in like so. All right. This triangle is going to be cut away also. I'm going to use that same process on all 4 corners. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pause this while I do that, and then I'll join you guys up here in a second. Okay. So by just measuring 3/4 of an inch from each intersection point, these little triangles, 3/4 of an inch in one direction, 3/4 of an inch up, and then draw that angled line. All right. I've done that in all 4 corners now. Now this is going to lay out just like this. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off the areas that I have shaded here. All right. So I'll cut off this corner and cut down here. All right. Let me go ahead and pause that while I do my cutting, and I'll join you guys up here in a sec. All right. So I've cut out my corners. I've done my relief cuts, and then I labeled each line hem or bend so I know what type of fold I'm going to do on each one. All right. I'm going to bend everything kind of inwards, in towards the middle of everything, and then I'll bend these up towards the side. At this point, you want to get some tape ready so that when you bend them, you can kind of get that corner set up and things will come out a little better. Again, I will pause it one more time so I can get my tape ready and start doing my folds on this for the base of my little tool caddy. All right, I got my tape ready, and I folded my first hemline right here. Remember, the hemline's all the way over fold. All right. Typically, if we had metal, we would hammer this down and make it nice and flat. I cut a couple pieces of small tape so I can I kind of attached them to. Let's see if I can show you guys. I just kind of attached them to the side of my table so I can just grab them and put them on. There we go. So I'll put a couple pieces of tape on my hemline, and then I'll continue on to the next one down here. All right. Get a nice clean seam on that. Okay. Now I gotta do my bends. I got my hemline done. I have 4 bend lines to do. All right. I can't really say it's do one over the other in terms of order. So I'm just gonna go like this, go like this. And I'm going to get those out of the way so I can do my other 2. All right, so I kind of got the makings of what I want here. And if I did it correctly, when I stand everything up, I should get a nice seam right here if I did my relief cuts correctly. So I'm going to get a few pieces of tape. All right. So that is the base of my tool caddy. I taped it along these corners right here because I did my, let's see, it's hard for you guys to see. So you can see I put a little piece of tape right here, and I have that nice 45-degree seam right there ready to put in the other pieces. So you have to cut out two of the sides, and you're going to put them across right here, and then the handle kind of connects it all together. And do the magic. It's like a cooking show. I magically have finished this, and you can see how my sides I taped in like so. All right, my sides I taped in like this, and then my handle kind of goes across like that. This is my tool caddy, all out of paper. It's the same process though, although this one's a little bigger, as this guy right here. All right. All right, that's our video for this. If you need any help with that, please let me know, and we'll continue to work on sheet metal stuff.